is that? That's pretty cool. And this is Holly Bear. She's on the run. And it's chow time, and here comes Tasha. She's running now. I think these bears could run faster than these young interns. In fact, bears can run very quickly. Now it's dinner to go. It is dinner to go tonight. Now there we go. Oh, she broke her lunch bag. Oh my, she broke the lunch bag. Well, that's kind of like, what can I say? Well, now with the broken lunch bag, you get to see what they're eating. Well, I know we're maybe a minute or two early, but, you know, the bears run the show around here, and that's why we call it the Bear Center. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the North American Bear Center. And I would watch the bear in the bushes. She's going to come out again because she left a trail of dinner all the way up that little hill. Well, that was pretty exciting. I didn't even know what we were going to do, and I didn't ask. So, you know, when you don't ask, you get some surprises. And actually, I had an advantage here. This is Judy here. I'm broadcasting from the North American Bear Center, Ely, Minnesota, in the United States. And why did I say all that? Well, you can hear my voice and you can see these bears on www.bear.org. That's www.bear.org. If you go on our home page, you can actually click on live cameras and see both of these bears as long as you have internet connection. Well, tonight it was dinner to go, or bag lunch, bag dinner to go. And as one of our bears did, she broke the bag, and you see some blueberries in there. They got a peach tonight. They've been getting apples, but we swapped out a peach and a variety of nuts, mostly peanuts out of shell. And I can't see what else is in there. There is some dried cranberries as well. So good afternoon, everybody. And like I said, it is dinner time here for our bears. And the two bears out are both female. And I will tell you who they are. Holly Bear is right front and center. She's actually got her nose in her bag right at the moment. Her front paws are circling. Tasha is up here by the, up a little higher here. She's actually looking. I called her name and she heard it. And now she's looking for in the, under those trees there where she wound up with her little bag to go. That's Tasha, our 2-year-old. So let's talk a little bit about these bears and a little bit about their backstory. And I'll talk about Holly first. She's the one right underneath the observation deck, and she's finishing out her bag lunch. Holly Bear is our 4-year-old female, and she's the oldest female here. She's at about 284 pounds, and she comes from Arkansas. Well, she was found separated from her mother due to a wildfire, and a gentleman found her when she was a cub back in 2013, and realized she probably would not survive the wild alone. So he picked her up and took her to his Arkansas home. Unfortunately, you can't do that. That is illegal, both in Arkansas and Minnesota. So she was confiscated. They shipped her to Tennessee in hopes that she would be able to be rehabilitated into the wild, and that did not happen. Tennessee had no use for her, shipped her back to Arkansas and said, "We don't want her, you take her." Arkansas said, "Well, we don't want her either." So here we have a cub that nobody wants, and she was facing euthanasia. So the telephone started ringing. We were contacted and said we would consider taking her. So some great volunteers drove down in the middle of winter, and she arrived December 27th of 2013 when it was approximately 25 below zero and about 2.5 feet of snow. She shortly went into denning, and we began working with her in April of 2014. She gets her name because she came here during the holiday season, and she's also named after the holly berry. That is a wild bear food that bears fruit in the month of December. Now we've got Tasha over here that has decided that she rolled her peach down the hill here, and she's laying by what we call the rock den. The rock den is formed at least on 3 sides by rock. And we have had bears den there in the past, but not in the last year or two. Now Tasha Bear is now eating her, looks like she's really working on those peanuts. And she's got a similar story. She comes from Kentucky, from rural Kentucky, where she was found nursing on her dead mother, who had been killed the day before in a truck accident. A gentleman realized she too would not have survived the wild, so he took her to his rural Kentucky home. He actually had a nice setup for her, but again, it is illegal to do that, and we never would recommend you do that. He took her to his home, and he had approximately 50 acres of woods and nice terrain for her to play with and climb trees. And he also, she played with his family dog. So she grew up with the family dog on a nice 50 acres, but he did release her into the wild. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, he heard on the news that there was a bear getting into a little mischief down the road. He was concerned it could be her, so he got in his pickup truck, went down the road, and realized, I think it's Tasha. So he called her name. She clearly recognized him, ran to his truck, jumped in his pickup truck, and they drove home together. Well, in a small community, word travels fast, and people realized that he was keeping a bear on his property. The authorities subsequently confiscated her, but in a small community, as I said, the word travels fast. They did not want this cute little bear to be euthanized. Once again, that telephone started ringing around the country to see if there was a facility that would take a small female bear. Again, it was, we thought the timing might be right because we had just recently lost a bear here at the Bear Center, unfortunately, and at the time that happened, we didn't even know about Tasha, but we heard about her situation and said we would take her, and she showed up here on June 6th of last year. Now, getting back to Holly, the first bear I talked about, the one still laying down, eating right out of her bag. At 4 years of age, she is fully grown and a mature female. And it's not likely that Holly will grow much more. And she is going to be about average size, maybe slightly smaller. And we're having a little discussion over who's going to get that peach. And of course, it went to the oldest female. This is Holly's territory, and Tasha did protest. Her protest did nothing. Holly walks away with the prized peach. Tasha didn't care for it too much, but Holly gets away because, I'll tell you why. It is a matriarchal society in the wild, and the older female will win in most cases. Holly did slightly protest, but to no avail, she lost her peach. There was some slight vocalization, not much. Tasha did not put up much of a fight about that. It's risk versus reward. Our interns quickly threw out some other food, and that is really what she wanted. She wanted more food. Now they're getting pretty close together again, and Tasha did flinch a little bit, saying, "Oops, are you going to try to take some peanuts away from me as well?" Not sure. So Holly is full grown, and females do mature at the age of 4. Males, on the other hand, at the age of 10. So there's a lot of things to do here in Ely, Minnesota. And for those of you here at the Bear Center, we are open until 6, and we have one more tour at 5 o'clock. We do announce all programs ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. There's also the International Wolf Center that is open. They're open daily and have a pack of wolves. And there is a knowledgeable staff that can talk to you about wolves, wolf care, and wolf habitat. In Ely, Minnesota, you are in bear and wolf country. So it's possible you could see a wolf or a bear walking in the woods in Ely. Not overly likely, but it is possible. And if you're wondering what to do if you're camping or living in bear country, you might want to check out our great camping exhibit. That's the little green pup tent there that you see in the exhibit hall. And if you read around that exhibit, you'll know just about everything you should want to know about camping with bears or living in bear country. There's a lot of non-lethal methods to get a bear to stay away from your area, or what to do if you see a bear in camping country. And if you're thinking about doing anything else in Ely, there are many other attractions. We have the Great Boundary Waters Canoe Area where you can go canoeing and fishing and hiking and portaging from lake to lake and camp really in the woods. And if you're thinking about camping on an island, I know I just talked to somebody earlier today that they thought they were going to camp on an island and they wouldn't have to worry about bears. Well, that's not necessarily a good idea. You can certainly have fun camping on an island, but bears can swim and have been observed and recorded at swimming up to 7 miles nonstop. So tenting in the Boundary Waters is a fun activity, but always keep a clean campsite and try to make your campsite as clean, if not cleaner, than when you found it. If you've enjoyed your time here at the Bear Center, we'd also appreciate a shout out on TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a free application or a free app that you can download on your Android device or iPhone, laptop, or iPad, and just type in Ely, E-L-Y, Minnesota. About things to do, you'll see the North American Bear Center pop up, and you can give us some comments. We do read those comments regularly and appreciate your input. We also have the Northwoods Ecology Hall if you want to know even more about our area here. Other than just bears, we will have a butterfly release here a little later on today. We also have frogs, we have painted turtles and fish in there. And we also have a fabulous array of animals in our touch screens where you can learn a lot about the variety of animals we have here that are native to the Ely area. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming to the North American Bear Center today. We appreciate your business. Being a nonprofit, we sustain our programs as well as our bears and facilities through your donations, admissions, and gift shop purchases. You can also donate and scan our gift shop online as well at www.bear.org. That's www.bear.org. This is the last broadcast of the day, and I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in via bear.org. No matter where you are in the world, your help in making these programs, educational programs, work for everybody, even for those folks who are not in Ely, Minnesota and may never make it. We appreciate your help, your volunteering, and your assistance. I'm signing off, and I will be back on mic tomorrow at 11, 1, and 4 o'clock. Thank you much for joining us.